Hey, this is Panzer with Checkmate Gaming, and I'm bringing you another guide. This one is going to be jungle. Oh, I guess no, it's going to be Malphite, just Malphite. I do lane him for a few of the clips during the game. The game is composed of 3 full LOL matches, 1 ranked 5v5 against a really good team, and 2 ranked solo games that are pretty decent. Anyways, I'll briefly go over jungle Malphite because it is viable and it should be done if you don't have a jungler. So, if jungling Malphite, you're going to want to start cloth armor, 5 pots, pretty typical. And you can watch the video to see the route I'm going. I'm running it at 2 times speed, the video that is, just so you guys can speed through it because it's pretty boring just watching me sit there and kill neutrals in the bushes. Now, skill-wise, you're going to be leveling up our E ability, Ground Slam, and Priority, followed by our Q ability, Seismic Shard, and our ult whenever we can, and opting to not get Brutal Strikes till around level 13 or anyways, now with Galio and Amumu's ult nerfed only to 2 seconds and Malphite's ult buff to 1.5 seconds done, with no requirements of having to be close to them or even have to channeling effects, I think we're going to see a lot more Malphites in the near future. He's going to start becoming one of the #1 tanks, I think. Maybe not, I don't know, he's still not that great. But he does counter the current metagame of Twitch, MF, Kog'Maw being the #1 carries. He doesn't quite counter Tristana and Corki because they have really easy ways of escaping her. Escaping him. He does counter Ashe as well. He just immediately ults on them, activates his E ability Ground Slam, which reduces their attack speed, and if you have a Randuins as well, that's reducing a lot of attack speed. Their attack speed is going to be really low. They might not even be able to attack you more than a couple times in a matter of 5 seconds. And for being a tank, he does incredible amounts of burst damage, being able to ult in, hit your E ability Ground Slam, and then activate your Seismic Shard. You can do upwards to about 1,000 burst damage instantly. Anyways, for most of the video I'm just going to be commentating on what I'm doing in game and what you should be doing as Malphite in general and how to play Malphite. If you pay attention to where I'm standing right now, see this spot in the bush? You can actually guard both entrances to your red camp just by standing here. And I did notice they did have wards on them, so I alerted our Corki that they were going to ward our red, and since Corki has his Q ability which unveils stealth, we had him come over here and reveal the ward, and we blew it up. So our jungler is no longer in danger from any unsuspecting gank. Now these clips might start moving a little faster because of the slow pace of the game. I just wanted to speed through to the most interesting parts. Anyways, I'll show a few kills just demonstrating how much damage I can do, and also just demonstrating how Malphite plays out. His Ground Slam ability might seem like it has a decent range, but it's really pretty bad. You have to be pretty much on top of them when you use it, just so be wary of that when you go to damage people or try to slow their attack speed. Stand right on top of them when you activate it. Now for my core items in Malphite, I like to focus on getting a Randuins, a Banshees, and a Frozen Heart. Or you can go for more magic resist or more HP should you need it, but with Randuins, Frozen Heart, and your Ground Slam ability, they all synergize really well to lower their attack speed by a lot. If you guys want to do the math, Ground Slam's about 60%, Randuins 35%, Frozen Heart 20%. That's a lot of attack speed to produce in a large AoE radius. And that's why Malphite ends up being a really hard counter to most of the hard carries in this game. Now there's 4 core uses for Malphite's ult, Unstoppable Force, which causes them to charge forward and knock up the enemies into the air and stun them for 1.5 seconds. The first use of the ult is to disrupt the enemies, either interrupt them, stop them from doing something, stop maybe a new ult, cat ult, stuff like that. The second would be to stun the majority of their team, say 3 or 4 people, or their whole team if you can optimally. And the third is to immediately ult their carry once they come in range and then immediately slow their attack speed and stuff. And the last ability, which is probably the worst use of his ult, is to use it for escaping, just like a flash, go through a wall or something like that, which I do maybe once or twice in the entire guide, but I'd strongly recommend not using your ult for that whenever you... Now because you do charge forward with his ult, it makes it really great for initiating for your team, especially in lower elos where teams just sit there back and forth staring at each other and refuse to go in. Now in the next clip coming up in just a moment, it's going to show me both disrupting the enemy Galio's ult, interrupting most of their team and stunning most of them in the air, as well as cutting off their team from the rest of our team, allowing us to clean up fairly easily. And I'm just going to briefly talk about this little contest that me and Timevice are going to put on for Checkmate Gaming. We're going to make a video sometime in the next week that's going to open up a contest. It's going to be pretty easy for everyone to participate in. That's what we want, ideally. And then basically if you're subscribed to our channel and you go ahead and complete the next contest, whatever it's going to be. It's not going to be something difficult, so you're definitely going to have a chance. We're going to be giving away some Riot points, probably a couple prizes of $10 Riot points, something like that. Anyways, so make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you participate in the next contest that's coming out next week. Now for runes, I don't really have the best rune setup for tanks, so I will not be giving out rune instructions for people to try out, but I will try to recommend that you use movement speed quints on Malphite, because when you use your Q ability, it steals some movement speed and gives it to you, so and that 4.5% from the movement quints will actually apply to your Q ability Seismic Shard and give you an additional amount of movement speed, so you get actually a pretty hefty boost compared to most other Malphite. Now, just as a general rule, when you're playing a tank, try to protect your team. That's the rule of a tank. So here I'm actually going to exhaust and block Grog's body slam from killing our Taric. So it's really important that if you're playing a tank or anybody and one of your teammates is going to die from a skill shot, be it Ash Arrow, Mundo Cleaver, anything, make sure you just walk in the way of it so it doesn't hit them. Now the clips from this game are actually from a losing game in 5v5, but it does show some of the capabilities that Malphite has, and it shows what I meant when I said immediately going for the carry. The only reason we lost this game, I'd say, is a few bad mistakes, and we had a feed on our team. I think his name was something like Time Vice, as well as the other team was incredibly good players, having some 1900, high 1800 rated people on their team. Now, one of the most important things about playing Malphite, and I can't stress this enough, is to actually get into the character of Malphite. So when you're on vent with your friends and you're playing Malphite, make sure if they ever say anything to immediately interrupt them and say things like rock solid or you will lose, or just yell out Malphite as loud as you can on vent. It tends to really get me to play at a much higher level than I normally would. And anyone who's ever played with me on voice chat can probably attest to me being pretty obnoxious when it comes to shouting random things. Now, on a serious note, this is going to show what I meant by immediately ulting their hard carry and blowing your exhaust and your ground stun on them. We do actually lose a team fight because their Scion and AP Gragas are so incredibly fed, but if you watch, I'm saving my ult, I'm saving my exhaust, I'm saving my spells, and the second Twitch comes out of stealth, I'm immediately going to use it all on him and just shut him down. Now, in most scenarios, as long as their team isn't fed like this one is, you can usually clean up the rest of their team because their carry is doing nothing and your team is just destroying theirs. So one of the things I want to make clear is that I think I'm going to start uploading regular videos, at least one guide every week, and maybe some other things, as well as Time Vice is going to start uploading as well. And I was going to start this last week, but being the complete amazing human being that I am, I managed to get almost all of us in Checkmate Gaming tickets to BlizzCon, so that was pretty awesome for last week. But from now on, I think I'm going to start regularly uploading videos, and maybe not all guides too. I'd like to get a little creative, maybe try some things, as long as it's all League of Legends based. Are you guys okay with that? And if you guys have any good ideas or suggestions, make sure to leave a comment below. I am not going to be able to read your mind and know that you want to have a Justin Bieber music video with Timo and Kenan dancing in the background. So just leave suggestions below what you'd like to see in the future. Now back to gameplay. During this next team fight, my ult is on cooldown. However, I can still be pretty useful in that I'm going to use all my damaging abilities, including my ground slam, to try to hit as many people as possible and debuff them with his 60% attack speed. And since we are fighting an Ezreal who gets most of his damage from Mystic Shot, it's actually better off to debuff Warwick, who gets a lot of healing from just simply auto-attacking. Now here I'm going to show you how to not kill anyone and waste your ult in the same time with a simple tower dive. Also, I'd like to point out, if you're the only one with Smite on your team, do not leave Baron and make sure you Smite it. Now we're going to bottom lane, and Warwick's overextended, and if you watch, I don't take any damage from this tower whatsoever with just Randuins. So I'm going to go ahead and dive Warwick, and subsequently, because we have Baron and they only have 4 people, they can't really stop us from pushing. So we're going to end up pushing this tower and the inhibitor as well. Now if you're playing one of these huge AoE ultimate characters like Malphite, Galio, or Mumu, it pays to be patient and just wait for the enemy team to group up before ulting. Here they group up and chase us out, and I'm able to land the holy grail of Malphite ults, hitting their entire team. And then right after beating them, we end the game and win. So it was a pretty good ult. It's a typical day's work for Malphite, you know, completely carrying your team to victory and all. It's pretty common stuff. So with that, we're gonna go and finish off their Nexus, and I would love to ask you guys what guide you'd like to see next, as well as to subscribe, because I would love to see my subscription count for this channel be higher, because that would be pretty awesome and stuff. And make sure to leave feedback below in the comments. It's really appreciated, it really is. And there's the Nexus explosion and a cool victory screen. So enjoy the last 5 seconds of the video.